Good afternoon and welcome to Global News on Memories 96.5 FM, Uyo. The top stories. President Tinubu addresses African leaders on status of ECOWAS. Rice farmers in Ibiono seek state government support to mitigate challenges. Federal government sets 31st July deadline for civil servant screening. On the foreign scene, Liberian Senate considers relocating capital city over flooding. In sports, Nigeria, the Tigress suffers second friendly defeat to Serbia. We have details of this and other stories coming up in a moment. I am SHARON, MANDOR. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has addressed African leaders in Accra, Ghana on the status of ECOWAS, highlighting the progress so far made by the West African Economic Bloc and the prevailing challenges, presenting the achievements of ECOWAS in the past 1 year at the 6th Media Coordination Meeting of the African Union. President Tinubu, who is the chairman of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, said the community has activated a standby force to counter terrorism and will continue to explore funding options. The president said ECOWAS has been supporting member states to enhance electoral and governance processes and recently deployed election observation missions to Senegal and Togo, both of which elections were adjudged to be peaceful, transparent, and fair. He also highlighted the facilitation of the signing of an agreement for national unity in Sierra Leone, noting that the sub-regional body will continue to work with stakeholders in the country to implement the provisions of the agreement. The president disclosed that consultations are ongoing to revise the ECOWAS 2001 Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. On economic integration, President Tinubu said ECOWAS has implemented activities to consolidate the free trade area, customs union, and common market. Back home, experts in Akwa Ibom State are sounding the alarm that ramping up rice production is crucial to reining in inflation as the cost of food continues to skyrocket in the state. Speaking with our reporter, a renowned rice farmer in the Ibom local government area, Emmanuel Uswa, emphasized that rice is a staple food for over 80% of Nigerians and urged the government to allocate adequate funding to rice farming in Ibom to boost production and stabilize prices.
prices go from 70 to 50,000 yesterday in the
Another rice farmer, Friday Tim, commended the state government's commitment to prioritizing agricultural development and also appealed to the government to address these issues and ensure that support reaches the farmers who need it most. Another veteran rice farmer, Martha Ayodo, expressed her conviction that with government support, Enquiry can produce surplus rice for export to neighboring states, thereby generating revenue and creating jobs for the youth. They all called on the government to provide more backing for rice cultivation to mitigate the devastating effects of inflation on food prices. Away from that, now to the national scene, the federal government says federal civil servants have until the 31st of July 2024 to verify their identities on the portal of the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System amidst the planned stoppage of salaries and sanctions for ghost workers. Reports indicate that civil servants have been rushing to generate their taxpayers' identification number at the Federal Inland Revenue Services offices nationwide. Part of the requirement for verification is the TIN alongside the IPPIS number and salary account number. You would recall that President Bola Tinubu had directed that all civil servants who were drawing salaries from the government after relocating abroad should be made to refund the money, and also directed that the culprit supervisors and department heads be punished for aiding and abetting the fraud while they were in charge. The federal government is expecting fresh reports to confirm the real sulfur content of the diesel produced by the Dangote refinery as the company debunked claims of inferior fuel production. The NMDPRA spokesman George Eneta, in an interview on Sunday, said the agency had done its job and would not engage in a media fight with anybody over the claims made by the NMDPRA Chief Executive Farouk Ahmed that Dangote's diesel has more sulfur content than imported ones. According to Eneta, the authority has about 15 engineers and scientists embedded in the Dangote refinery whose fresh report about the refinery's sulfur content will be out today. Reacting to Dangote's allegations that the NMDPRA was given licenses to some traders to import dirty fuel into Nigeria last week, Ahmed argued that it was the Dangote fuel that had a larger content of sulfur. He also said the refinery, which has been selling diesel and aviation fuel in Nigeria for months, had yet to be licensed, stating that it was still at the pre-commissioning stage. The national president of the Association of Local Government of Nigeria, ALGON, Aminu Meifata, has assured Nigerians that local government administrators will prioritize primary health care and basic education. He made this promise at the opening of the 48th National Executive Council NEC meeting of ALGON in Lafia, Nasarawa State, known to be the first gathering of the association since the Supreme Court affirmed the autonomy of local government councils in the country. The ALGON national president expresses gratitude for the confidence reposed in the local government councils by the presidency, state governors, and the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, a communique outlining the council's resolution and decisions is expected at the end of the NEC meeting. You're listening to Global News on Memories 96.5 FM, and now to the rest of the news. On the foreign scene, severe flooding in Liberia has led a group of senators to propose relocating the capital city away from overcrowded and poorly managed Monrovia, a suggestion met with a mixture of enthusiasm and hesitancy in the country. According to the National Disaster Management Agency, flash floods triggered by torrential rains between the end of June and early July left nearly 50,000 Liberians in urgent need. The flood-prone capital was particularly badly hit, owing in part to overpopulation, a poor sewage system, and a lack of building regulation. Meeting to discuss the persistent flooding problem, the Senate Joint Committee in early July suggested establishing a new city to replace Monrovia. The Ministry of Public Works said it was carefully reviewing the proposal, adding that the plan did not yet include an exact location for the move and that any decision would come down to economic viability. Still on the foreign scene, United States President Joe Biden yesterday announced that he is dropping out of his re-election battle with Donald Trump in a historic move that plunges the already turbulent 2024 White House race into uncharted territory. Biden said in a letter posted on X yesterday. Meanwhile, Joe Biden has endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for the 2024 presidential race, saying it's been the best decision he has made. He encouraged Democrats, saying it's time to come together and beat Trump. In sports, Nigeria's The Tigress went down to a 70-62 defeat against Serbia in their second pre-Olympic friendly yesterday. Benawakama's side trailed behind with a 6-point deficit, 21-15, in their first quarter, while Serbia maintained their dominance in the second quarter, extending the lead by 10 points, 39-29. The Europeans retained their 10 points lead in the third quarter, 55-45. Serbia pulled through to maintain their lead in the fourth quarter to seal victory in the contest. The Tigress will face Japan in the last friendly in Lille on Wednesday, as Nigeria will face Australia, France, and Japan in Paris. And that's Global News on Memories 96.5 FM. But before we go, let's take a recap of the top stories rather. President Bola Tinubu has addressed African leaders in Accra, Ghana on the status of ECOWAS, highlighting the progress so far made by the West African Economic Bloc and the prevailing challenges. Experts in Akwa Ibom State are sounding the alarm that ramping up rice production is crucial to reining in inflation as the cost of food continues to skyrocket in the state. The federal government says federal civil servants have until the 31st of July 2024 to verify their identities on the portal of the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System amidst the planned stoppage of salaries and sanctions for ghost workers. On the foreign scene, severe flooding in Liberia has led a group of senators to propose relocating the capital city away from overcrowded and poorly managed Monrovia, a suggestion met with a mixture of enthusiasm and hesitancy in the West African country. In sport, Nigeria The Tigress went down to a 70-62 defeat against Serbia in their second pre-Olympic friendly on Sunday. The news this afternoon was edited by Mfarabong Ekot and assisted by the production team. For views regarding our news or coverage of a newsworthy event, you can reach us on email via newsroom@memoriesmediang.com or call our newsroom hotline on 0909 000 0581. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Memories965FM. And now let's take you down memory lane. On this day in 1812, the Duke of Wellington defeated 40,000 Frenchmen in 40 minutes at Salamanca, Spain, during the Peninsular War. And that's the news. Thank you for listening. I am Sharon MANDOR. Good afternoon and have a productive Monday.